Yo, what's going on, bro? Today I want to share with you how you can level up as a mechanic. Today there's a couple of things that I want to talk about, two specific points that I want to hit. First is going to be tools, and second is going to be the mindset and sort of the blank template that I have in my head about how to tackle a problem in a car and take care of actually most problems that I have in my life, but we're going to apply that to cars here in this video. If you didn't check out my last video, which is a part 1 to this series, check the card now. It tells you a bunch of basic stuff and some basic ideas of how to start working on cars. Today we're going to kind of build on that and give you some new stuff that you can use under the hood. Let's get started.
What we do here is go back.
So first we're going to talk about tools. The first thing that I want to say is I am not sponsored by any tool company, although personally I choose Milwaukee. I have had many different brands of tools through the years, and the tool company that has stood out to me and has had above average customer service, tool quality, and just general care in their product has been Milwaukee. Although there's a couple of other good companies out there, there's DeWalt, Makita, there's a couple other good companies out there. Just make sure that when you're purchasing your tools, you're keeping in mind that it is a bad idea to spend a little less money on a tool than if you spent a little bit more on a name brand. Because the name brand is probably gonna have a better warranty, higher quality, and even if it does have a lifetime warranty, say for example, Harbor Freight versus DeWalt or something like that, even if they both have lifetime warranties, it's a pain to have to send something in or go in for a replacement or what have you. And so some tools, it's just wise to purchase a higher quality tool. Because at the end of the day, the tools kind of make the man. You can be as smart as you want, but if you don't have the tools to get something done, then you're SOL. So anyways, with that out of the way, the first thing that I would recommend to somebody who is beginning to dive deeper into mechanic-hood, if you will, is a 3/8 electric impact. This is a Milwaukee M18 fuel electric impact, 18 volt. I have the bigger batteries. This is the 2 amp. I also have the 3 amp for this thing. This will take off and put on lug nuts to trucks. I think I can tighten all the way up to 150, 200 foot-pounds. I think about 150 is right where this hits with the bigger battery on it. This is one of the most used tools that I have in my arsenal. And if you look at this is only 2.5 years old and it is beaten up. But every time I go to grab it, it works, and I've never had a problem with it. So the reason why I recommend this is because, like I said, this is the most used tool I have in my arsenal, and it is so convenient to have this to take things off and put things on. And with this, it has a couple different modes, but I just use my finger to tell kind of how hard this is going to tighten to, and I've become one with this tool. I just know how this tightens, and so I'm able to feather something on there to a correct tightness. And sometimes this thing has saved me where it's really hard to get in somewhere and you don't know what's going on or something, whatever, and you can barely squeak this in and take something out or get it loose, whatever. This is a huge life and time saver. So this is absolutely number 1, electric impact. This is a 3/8. I would recommend this, the M18 Milwaukee Fuel 3/8 impact. I think they have a new version. It's a little bit more compact. It's like a pancake. But yeah, this is awesome. So I would recommend that. The next thing I recommend investing an extra dollar into is your multimeter. Now, I'm an HVAC technician by trade, and I use this in other circumstances as well. And if anybody's familiar with anything else on my channel other than cars, they know that I have used this in my electronics building also. So to me, a multimeter, and a quality multimeter that can measure everything accurately and quickly and reliably, is very important, because sometimes you need to be able to tell what a sensor's doing or what voltage is going somewhere, and if you have a slow multimeter or one that doesn't read exactly on the point, for example, Harbor Freight, I use those for general readings of things to see if things are on or off or if there's amperage going through something, but I don't use them for specific numbers. I use this for specific numbers. If I want to know exactly what's happening, this is what I use. Also, because I don't have an oscilloscope. One day, that is a purchase for one day. But this is absolutely something that you should pay an extra dollar for and upgrade on and have a really good one. This might have been in the first video, but it's worth mentioning this again. It's very important to have a good multimeter that you can trust that's going to be able to tell you exactly what you need to know when you're measuring things. Everything that I'm talking about here is going to be down in the description. So if you want to jump straight over to Amazon and take a look at some of the things that I'm talking about and the tools that I would recommend, I will post everything down there. The next thing that I would recommend, and it's sitting back over here behind the camera and you can't see it, is an air compressor. And I know that this is gonna be a little more pricey of a purchase. You're probably gonna spend 150 bucks on the compressor, and then all the accessories, you're gonna spend probably another 100 bucks, you know, all the fittings and the hose and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the next two things I'm gonna talk about here have absolutely saved me more times than I can count. The first one being this air impact. Now this one right here is by Matco. This has been a decent impact. I haven't had a problem with it. If you look, this is the demo model. I purchased this from a tool guy in a truck, and he sold this to me at a discount because it was the demo version, it was used. But I haven't had any problems with this. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend going with a huge crazy name brand company like this. I think the Ingersoll Rand makes some good impact wrenches like this, and I would personally choose them. There are some other brands and stuff out there that you could go with, again, like this, but this was probably like $400 or $500 new, and I got this for like $180 used, and in this condition here. But spending an extra dollar on something like this is absolutely worth it, but they're not too terribly expensive. I think an Ingersoll Rand, close to the same torque spec as this, is probably around 120 bucks, something like that. And that's something I would so recommend, because sometimes you just come across something that's just so hard to loosen or tighten, or you're trying to get to the right, you know, you have to rotate it 90 degrees, but you can't hold something still or something like that. Man, I have to say, that thing has saved my life. So definitely get yourself one of those. And the other air tool that I want to talk about is an air hammer like this. This one's by Mac Tools. I don't remember how much I got this for. This is awesome for separating things from each other, or to take care of dents, or dealing with anything metal. So say, for example, you got yourself a ball joint and it's stuck inside of the steering knuckle. It is extremely powerful to get a little crowbar in there, a pry bar, and kind of put some pressure on it, and then get this guy and push down and just burp, and it gives it a vibration. It's like, it gives it that shake that, I don't know, like you probably know that intuitive, like, you know, that thing in the back of your head, you know what shake I'm talking about. It's the vibration, the loose vibration. That's what this does. And it helps to separate metal from other metal. Like I said, ball joints. I use this to bang out some dents in my car from a previous owner when they had a front end collision. This has absolutely saved me. I love this thing. There's other attachments for it, so if you have to take off radiator fans or anything like that, they make a little wrench that has a little attachment here, and then you can push the nut for the radiator fan. You can use this for that. These aren't too terribly expensive. I think an Ingersoll Rand, one of these, you're looking at like 80 bucks or something like that. Both air tools, accessories, and the air compressor, you're probably looking at like 400 or 500 bucks. But man, having an air compressor, you can air up tires, you can do spray painting, you can use your air tools, you can, it's endless. And so at the end of the day, I would absolutely recommend to everybody who's trying to be serious about being a mechanic to have air tools alongside their electrical tools. Both are useful and powerful in their own regards. So those are the biggest time-saving and headache-relieving tools that I have that I can think of. I will come out with another video in the future, don't know when, but I will talk about some more tools that are very powerful in the mechanic trade. So with all that out of the way, now let's go ahead and dive into the second portion of this video. I want to take you over to my car, and we're gonna take a look at something that we could possibly be removing from the car or something. And I wanna show you how I would tackle a problem as it sits in front of me in a car if I just all of a sudden have to take care of something. So let's go look at that now. All right, you guys, so this is my project car. I've been building this for a while, and I've shown it in a couple of the other episodes and other things before. You may have seen it. But if you want to know more about this, you can check down in the description below, or you can check this link here. It'll bring you to a video in my build series, and you can learn more about what's going on with this build here. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look down in here at, say, the alternator, and I wanna show the process that I would take in my head of how we would tackle taking an alternator out of this engine bay. And then we will go over and take a look at my truck, which is sitting over here, and we will take a look at that so that we can see how, as it changes vehicle to vehicle, how the process in our minds changes as well. Also note, before you get your hands in the engine bay, before you pop your hood, you should hop onto Google or DuckDuckGo, your search engine of choice, and look up your vehicle and what you need to do to it. Because the likelihood that somebody else has already done what you're about to do is very high. Now, let's say that we weren't able to find somebody else to explain it for us. What I would do in that circumstance is then open the hood and look in the engine bay and find out where you need to be. Where's the part, what's around it, and what we're gonna have to deal with. So let's look down in here and see what I'm talking about. So I know the angle's not perfect, but you can kind of see down in here, we got our alternator. We got our exhaust manifold next to it, and there used to be an air box right here before I replaced the exhaust manifold with the turbo manifold. And so as we look down in here, there also used to be a fan shroud through here and a radiator fan, but I opted in for an electric fan so we have more room. But looking down in here, we want to look at what's in the way. Firstly, we want to identify where our part is. Then we need to find out what's in the way and where are the connections for our part. And a good way to find where the connections is to go and purchase the part that you're looking for and look at how it mounts, and that's how your old one's going to mount. And so I know right here, we got our belt on the front, we got this hose kind of in our way here, and I know that there's two bolts, one here, and I can feel the other one, it's down in here. And I know that if I take these two bolts out, after the belt is off, this alternator, after I undo the electrical connections in the back, will come right out and come right up without any problem. But before, with my air box that was here and the fan shroud that was in the way, you might have to move something and kind of scoot it out of the way, and you want to visualize where are the things that you need to unbolt. What's in the way when I try to move this out? Do I need to come up with it? Sometimes you got to go down. Sometimes you need to move something out of the way. Maybe the exhaust manifold's in the way and you got to take it, scoot it, and kind of finagle things or something. There's always a way to do something. Even though the engineers make it hard for you sometimes, there's always a way to replace something. So sometimes the best way is to just look in, see what you got, and just think about it. So let's go and take a look at my truck and take a look at how we tackle doing the alternator on that. Okay, so we're over at my truck, and again, here's our alternator. The first step, honestly, is to go to Google, look up your car, and look up somebody else doing this job. Then you come in and you look at what you need to do. You take a look what's around it. You take a look at the connections. Don't take any wrenches or anything. You're just standing here looking at it. I see that I got some bolts right here. I have not replaced this before, so I don't know. I'm kind of just eyeballing this here, but I can see that all the way around is clear, but we have a bolt here, and it looks like down below my finger, we got a bolt there. Obviously, we got our belt on here, and looking in the back, I can see that there's some electrical connections. There should only be 2 or 3, and so electrical out, 2 bolts and the belt off, and this should come straight up and out. Luckily for us, our fan shroud's not in the way, nothing weird's in the way. We're able to get right to it. It's sitting right here on the top. It looks like GM knew that alternators get replaced frequently, and they put it in an easy place for us. Sometimes, let's say I have to get to something down here, say that there's a pump or something that went bad and it's down below my hand. In fact, I had to rebuild the steering gear, and it's straight down below right here. And what I had to do is I had to move my AC lines up and out of the way so I could get my fan shroud up and out. I had to take my intake off and take it up and out. And then I was looking straight down, and I was just looking at what's in the way, what connections are there, what bolts are there. And then I had enough stuff out of the way, and I was able to see, and then I was able to do the bolts and things, and anything I forgot or I missed, I was able to easily see because I had enough stuff out of the way that I could get to it. But sometimes you do have to peel away some of the plastics and things so you can get to the part that you're working on. But that's easy. It's easier to remove a couple of easy things than to try to work around them. So like I said, guys, all the tools that I talked about are going to be down in the description. You guys can hop over onto Amazon and take a look at those, take a look at prices and kind of what you're looking at on that stuff. I highly recommend these tools that I talked about because they're just going to make your job so much easier, and sometimes you can't get a breaker bar in somewhere. It's best to just get an air impact and just boom, boom, and it's out. Instead of spending an hour trying to get something on and breaker bar with an extension, and it breaks a socket and you're trying to, it's just ridiculous. Sometimes, Anyways, if you guys didn't see the last episode, definitely check that out because I talk about some other car stuff, although mostly in this I kind of build on the old stuff. So if everything made sense for you here, you probably don't need to go see that. Check out my build series. The car that I showed you, I am turboing that. It was a naturally aspirated from the factory, and it's a 3.2 liter inline 6, and it's built from the factory for 500 horsepower. You just got to put a turbo on it. So I just build the engine with a stock block. You guys can go check that out in this series here. I'll put it in a card. And also I have a series of videos where I talk about the coolant system in a car and why cars overheat and how to diagnose overheating problems and how to fix coolant system problems. I talk about the entire, how all of it works, and that is absolutely worth checking out. I'll put a card to that here, or it'll be up on the screen. Also, definitely hit me up over on Snapchat. You guys can add me over there and you can see what I'm doing with whatever hobby I have going on at the time, and I share things with stuff with you guys over there. And you can also message me and send me pictures and things like that, and we can talk about things over there, so that's super cool. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Hit that like button if you like this video. Hit me up down in the comment section if you got something to say. Hit that subscribe button. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.